Alright, good evening folks. Welcome to round 6 of the North American Grand Prix GT2 Championship. As you can tell, I'm still learning the ropes with the whole queuing video and intros and all that stuff, and that one didn't go so well, but I'm still learning the ropes here. But any further ado, let me welcome my partner here as usual, Brad Maris. Brad, welcome to the show. Glad to have you back again.
Yeah, great to be back again, Al, and you just keep queuing up those videos, buddy. We'll get to all that sorted and add a few surprises here or there into our broadcast. We'll try to make it better for y'all.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in again here tonight. Coming to you live from Hockenheim. This is not the new Hockenheim, as I posted in the post. This isn't the neutered version of Hockenheim. This is the old, grab the bull by the horns Hockenheim, and it's very fast. It's going to be a very interesting race here tonight in GT2. Brad, what are your impressions heading into tonight's race?
Well, first of all, Al, I think it's a good thing that we have Armcos lining the entire track and not just the forest out there to catch these guys out, because I think that's what it's going to come down to tonight. These guys, it's a very difficult track to run consistent times on, lap after lap, but these guys are going to want to push if they want to get ahead of the guy in front of them. And there are some bumps and some twists and some turns on these high-speed chicanes that could very easily catch some of these guys out. And I think it will, Al. These guys are going to have to... They're going to have to be careful tonight if they want to score some good points.
Well, it's a totally different approach to this track as you would to the current version of Hockenheim. Basically, this has become, kind of a in-between track, power, downforce. That's what the new track is anyway, to a low downforce, high-speed track. You really don't need much wing going into tonight, just enough to get you through really that infield section, Brad. And this is a track, like I said in the post, again, this is going to benefit the high horsepower cars for the most part.
Yeah, it certainly can. Chow Mein Moto and Mike Monahan was nice enough to let me jump into their ride for a few laps around here over the last couple days, and actually I discovered that low downforce setups can get you around here pretty good, but a little extra front downforce on the splitter can actually get you through some of these chicanes and the stadium section pretty nicely for some good lap times as well. So I think a few of these guys are going to have some options in terms of that, but again, it's a high-speed track with a bunch of tricky corners on it, so it'll be interesting to see the kind of strategies and setups these guys employ tonight.
Well, you're absolutely right. It will be curious to know what some of these guys, what their approach is. I know for some of these cars, a very low wing, and it can be a little hairy going into some of these sections. Albeit not all that difficult, but still, like the chicane here that Nick Johnson is going through right now. You get that wrong, you're in for a world of hurt. So hopefully we don't see any of that here tonight, but we should be moving to qualifying here at any moment. Just waiting for a few guys to get in. Currently displaying 33 in-house. I know a couple guys went to Most Sport this weekend. Hungover or what's going on, but a couple of those Canadians will not be in attendance here tonight.
Yeah, we would like to thank Ian Jolicoeur, however, for getting that North American Grand Prix press pass and getting some nice pictures from around the paddock. Thank you, Ian.
Yes, exactly. If you haven't been on the forums, Ian was at the race this weekend at Mosport with Jack Ivey, Swervin Mervin, I believe Simon Goodwin was there, I think Johnny Lugnutz might have been there, but in the Motorsport Central forum, he's got a nice post in there with pictures from Mosport, so check it out. check it out. It's some good images. But so while we got a few minutes here before we head into qualifying, I just want to run down the point situation going into tonight's race. We start the second half of the GT2 season. Quick recap of last week. Tiago Canola with another masterful drive. Once again staying out late. All his 3 wins have employed the same pit strategy, staying out as late as he possibly can, pitting with only a few laps to go, and ultimately taking enough fuel to go the distance and double stitting his tires, and it's worked for him 3 out of the 5 races this season, as he's won 3 of them. So another great job by Tiago last week.
So we had a visitor pop in right fast there. Al, I believe he took off. Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's interesting. Both Tiago Canola and Nick Johnson, of course, Tiago Canola did take the win, as you mentioned, but both had 18 laps led in that race, so I believe that they both earned a bonus point for those laps led. Interesting situation, haven't had that a lot, but also interesting, Aaron Parsons there finishing 3rd, and the points race has really done nothing but tighten up here. I thought we'd get some questions answered in Kailami and some guys would distance themselves, but really the opposite happened, and we still have quite a championship points fight on our hand, Al.
Well, I guess to answer that question about the points, about the tie in laps led, the actual winner of the race will gets that bonus point. So.
Good clarification. Thank you.
So Tiago did get that bonus point. So again, Tiago had a great run. Nick Johnson improved. He's had 3 or 4 straight 3rd place finishes, and then he moved up 1 position last week to 2nd place. He can only go up from here. So this could be the night for Nick Johnson. We could see him get his first NAGP victory here in GT2. Time will tell. He's in a great car for this type of track, so I don't think Tiago will be able to employ those tactics this time around, but who knows? You never know what Tiago is going to sleep. And
well, I'll say.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to make a quick note on Tiago. Tires actually hold up extremely well around this track, Al. A lot of these guys in the higher horsepower cars are going to be getting about 3.4 liters a lap on their fuel usage. Tiago will not be getting anywhere close to that. I don't know. It's a possibility he's used that strategy effectively, so we'll see.
That's interesting. That may play out again. Who knows? Well, we'll have to wait and find out. And Aaron Parsons last week finished in the final podium position. Took a nice 3rd place finish. So Aaron's leading the way with 98 points. Tiago in 2nd with 93, and Johnson in 3rd with 80 points, 18 points back of Parsons. Moses is in 4th, and David Pohl rounds up the top 5 in 5th spot. In the team's championship, T. Brock Danbam, very tight by the way, 1 through 4. 9 points separating these teams. T. Brock Danbam at 1st with 109. Adrenaline Taxi Service 2nd, 108 points, 1 point back. PMR in 3rd, 05 Motorsports in 4th, and Nissan Racing in 5th. So that's the point situation right now. We got qualifying well underway. I believe Juan Monroy may be the first actor, so we'll keep an eye on him and see what his time is like. And Ryan, go on board with Monroy in the Gumpert, filling in for Great Tricks here tonight, who snapped his leg or something a couple weeks ago, and still unable to race. Brad, I know you've been helping out Kurt in this Gumpert. How did you take it for any laps around this circuit? And if so, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to jump in that ride for those guys too much. Again, Chow Mein Moto gave me the opportunity to drive around their Mercedes around here a little bit. I can say that I did see Curtis on the server turning some very nice lap times in the high 04, low 2-minute 5 range. So Curtis looks to be on the pace here tonight, as he has been pretty much all this season. And I expected Gumper to do pretty well out here, but like I say, I don't know necessarily that a pure power car is going to necessarily dominate tonight. I think maybe some of these downforce cars can do well if they can manage to stay in front on these long straights.
So, Monroy jumps a provisional pole with an 0.46. Wathen in 7th. On board with Wathen right now. He does have some traffic up ahead of him. One of the Mustangs. Don't know if that slowed him up much. We'll see as he approaches the second split. Aston should
traffic
be a very
can certainly.
good car.
Oh, no question, and we didn't get a chance to talk about Marty Uren, but certainly out in front in terms of practice pace. Traffic can help you or hurt you here, Al, depending on how much of a draft you get off that guy in front.
Absolutely, as we witness Gup Douglas doing a little wall sampling. Marty currently in 13th. Expect the qualifying time to be maybe low 04, possibly the 03s. What do you suspect, Brad? What are we looking at for pace qualifying?
Well, again, very difficult to get consistent laps here, lap after lap, but you can expect to see race pace somewhere in the low 04s. Here in qualifying, we could see as much as 2 seconds better than that, given the length of the track. So, well, we see an 02 there from Nick Johnston. I think that could go even a half second lower, maybe even a bit lower than that.
We just jumped on with Nick Johnston as he with a 2029. We have Mikey Monahan currently in second, Esteban Palacios' teammate, and he is currently in P2 with a 2:03.9. Looks like Nick and Sam Rolfe doing a little teamwork action. Let's see if Nick is able to get a tow and jump up and improve his time, I should say. This is something we most will probably see a little bit of here tonight, where these teammates help each other out with the draft down these exceptionally long straights. Oh, looks like Nick got out of it.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that is actually a good corner to employ that strategy right there. It's a very tricky last, very important chicane there. Carry a lot of speed through that sucker, and any momentum you can take all the way through that's going to help you out. But there are team orders here at NAGP, and by gosh, if you can help your teammate down some of those long straights, why not?
Palacio about to start a hot lap here at Hockenheim. Let's ride along with him on board with us. The beautiful sound of this Mercedes SLS.
Yeah, coming out of the stadium section now, heading down to this very tricky turn 1 where you want to carry a lot of speed through and all the way down this straight.
This is definitely showing some competitive race times here throughout the week. Really bringing out that Mercedes.
Yeah, something else interesting as we watch this car run around this track. From what I've been seeing, Al, the times have been extremely tight around this track, given the nature of it being so long. But there's going to be quite a few guys here within just a second or two of our best lap time. So it's interesting the track will be so long, yet we'll have very tight time.
Yeah, it really sounds like that Mercedes is going to pop. He waited so long to shift into 6th gear. Lap here for Esteban. See what the split is in a second. off about a second and change. Still keeping it pretty tight,
yeah, that's
for SD, and pretty decent looking lap as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Esteban did have some laps out here. I know Mike Monahan was going through some setup tweaks that may or may not be on Esteban's car now, so he may not be used to those, not sure, but in any event, he'll want to do a little bit better than where he's at right now, is Will Esteban.
Esteban clocks in with an 0.44, so he is sitting right now in 9th spot. Let's take a look at Aaron Parsons, who's currently languishing back in 10th spot. Aaron's carrying quite a bit of weight here tonight, some success ballast. That's what happens when you win too much. And yeah, he's paying the price here. That's gonna how's that some of these guys, especially someone like Tiago, Nick, and Aaron, who's carrying all this weight here, how's that gonna affect their straight line speed as Parsons really hangs the tail out and he gets blocked by one of the Fords. I believe that was Rally. Not the best spot to let the guy by, but I guess he was trying to do the right thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah, certainly it's gonna hurt their speed a little bit. But seeing some of the practice times I saw, I can only assume Aaron was running race laps. He wasn't too far off of Nick Johnston's, Marty Uren's, best practice time, only about 7/10 off. I think Eza has actually quite a bit more speed in that thing. If he can manage to get a clean lap, I think that's all that's holding him back at the moment.
Aaron does not improve, but meanwhile, the story tonight right now is Juan Monroy. What is up with this Gumpert? Currently sitting in P2 behind Nick Johnson with a 2:03.7.
Yeah, they don't need any help from the likes of me, Al. They might be going backwards if I were to help them out with that thing.
It's all that development work you put in early on in the season, Brad.
I'd like to take credit for it, but you know what? I just don't think it's the case, Al. Juan on a nice lap here. Don't know if you're still on him.
Amp.
Yeah, tough section through the stadium here. You got to be patient on these corners, get them just right. There are some bumps which will catch you out. Really tough braking zones to sight your entry into these last couple corners.
He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him that Camaro may help him a little bit. Bam! 2:03 flat, so great lap by Monroy. Nick Johnson still playing, doing the draft game with Sam. It looks like these guys playing their qualifying out here prior to tonight.
Yeah, certainly have a strategy in mind, and it's not necessarily a bad way to go. Unfortunately, not going to help Nick out through a second split there, but yeah, if you can organize it, it's tough to do. It can be beneficial. Now we have some.
So they get into
Not sure what that
Mikey
was.
Monahan, and Mikey probably not too happy about that.
Yeah, well, if Mikey was on a hot lap, he's surely not going to be. That's not the most gentlemanly thing to do. But then again, we don't know if Mikey was on a hot lap, so hard to say.
Yep, cannot tell you for sure. But hey, who's this John Houston guy? Currently running P4 in the Viper. Wow. Tremendous laps by Houston. He's been struggling most of this season, but this is what T-Brock Dan Bam needs if they want to win this team championship, is a performance from what some would say the second driver of each of these teams in the top 5. Wow. Houston putting in quite the performance here in qualifying.
Yeah, well, we can certainly talk about some of those second drivers for these teams in contention, but John Houston is, in my opinion, would be one of those you would think would have the advantage over some of the others, but given past performances, but this season a little bit off in that Viper, still coming to grips. This could be cure to his ills here tonight at Hockenheim, Al.
Houston goes up. Chris Moses is about to finish a hot lap here. Looks like he's quite a bit off his pace. Got about 11 minutes, 11 and a half left here. I should mention ambient 82 degree, 100 Fahrenheit track temp. Very nice conditions for qualifying. Oh, Klepnauer, he's up in the top 10. He's running in 8th right now. It's nice to see some new faces up there.
Indeed, Jens Klempner putting that Ford GT3 to good use tonight. Yeah, I don't think these guys, we've got about 11 minutes left to go here in this qualifying session. I just got to think there aren't a lot of these guys that have gotten their best laps in yet. I know Chris Moses can turn a pretty low 2-minute 4-second lap on full fuel, so I got a feeling that these times aren't quite as low as these guys would like to be seeing yet, but they're running out of time here with this long track. You know, at 10 minutes you get about 5 more laps, not counting any in and out laps, so time running out.
Should mention Thiago Canola currently sitting in the 9th spot, carrying that success ballast for his performance in the last couple of races, but he's doing an admirable job there up in 9th, and believe it or not, he is ahead of Aaron Parsons. Let's check that weight situation.
Yeah, they're both carrying 70 kilos out.
Yeah, they're both carrying the same amount of weight, so looks like that. Looks like that Porsche is able to handle that weight better, perhaps. Who knows?
Well, we saw an 0.47 by Aaron in the practice session. I can't imagine that was a qualifying lap. Aaron, he doesn't typically run qualifying laps in the practice session, but I guess it's a possibility. So I still expect that is not Aaron's best time, but we'll see.
Currently on board with Marty Uren, sitting in P3. His teammate not available for tonight's race. Not sure if they got a substitute. Do not believe that had happened. So Marty racing tonight. Ian Jolicoeur out. See where Marty is after the second split. Behind slightly, about 3/10.
And Marty Uran also on at least a better lap. Certainly he was in the low 04 range in practice as well. So he's got some more speed in it, but again, time's running out.
I'll tell you what, it looks like Nick has been trying to help Sam run a good lap doing the draft game, but he better mind his P's and Q's and maybe try and better his personal best. And Monroy is he's on a hot lap right now. And
Al, I'm going to guarantee you that.
Go ahead.
I'm going to guarantee you that an 029 is not going to win this qualifying session. I really hope I'm right.
Monroy coming up on a bunch of traffic here. Let's hope these guys play nice and let him by without any hesitation. Oh, Monroy gets out of it. I think he realized that what was ahead. I'm sure he's getting right back out there. Meanwhile, Houston jumps into the 03s. Chris Moses as well. Then 03.8. And Canavan, last week's winner in GT1 at Spa, and ended a long drought of non-wins in GT1, but a great performance. He won there. He's looking to now take the victory here in GT2. So
It'll be a tough it'll be a tough challenge for David Canavan tonight in his current machine, but he did a great job there Thursday, slogging through changeable conditions in that blister. So congratulations, David.
It's a confidence booster for him, needless to say. As Canavan jumps up to P4 with a 037. As Nick Johnston is about to embark on a hot lap.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea to try to help out your team. I was watching Sam Rolfe and Nick Johnston trying to help each other out there, but it's best not to stay too close to a guy. Generally, if you want to go ahead and give him a good tow down one particular straight, not try to follow around the whole track. Generally works out a little bit better that way. And it looked like they were trying to draft around the whole track. Doesn't usually work too well.
I mean, you pick a straight and you go with it. I agree.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of tough to carry that through a couple different chicanes. It's similar to Monza. You know, you can't do it through you know, the Lesbos and all that. It just doesn't work.
Well, I'm keeping an eye on timing and scoring here. Nobody is able to yet really be able to get those laps. These guys are still trying out there. Chris Moses out there, I think with maybe one of the better shots. Of course, Nick Johnston can improve on his time, I believe. Marty Urin, I'm very surprised he hasn't turned a better lap yet.
Nick is up 2 tenths. He's up 2 tenths, and he's got a little bit of traffic up ahead of him. I believe that's one of the McLarens.
Yeah, sometimes, Al, they don't even have to necessarily interfere with your lap, but being up there and kind of getting in your frame of sight there can psych you out a little bit. Here he comes.
I think he lost a bit of time. Ooh, he didn't. He actually improved. He lost a little bit, but still improved to a 202.6. Sorry. Well, we're on board with Monroy. As he's got a Lambo up ahead of him. It looks like that's bumped him a little bit, and that's going to cost me. Realize it, and he's out. Tough break.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to exit the...
Yeah, he's going to have to go now. Well, he's...
Yeah, he can still barely get a timed lap in here, but he's going to have to get out there and hustle. Yeah, he does realize it.
Yeah, and he's got to keep his foot in it too. He can't let up. A lot of these guys,
I didn't see Chris Moses's.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I didn't see Chris Moses. He's through the second split. Didn't see where he was at, but he's a guy I know that can turn a better time lap here, and he's coming up to it right now.
He's about to finish his hot lap. Bingo! 2:02.5 on pole. Wow. And Johnston parked it. He thought he had it. Cool breeze. Not tonight. Wow. I'm shocked that Nick just put it in the garage after he got that hot lap. He figured no one else is going to come close, but we've seen him do it in the past. Last few races, he'd set a time, park it for a while, and then when someone gets close, he'd go out. And as you mentioned, it's going to bite him sooner or later. This time it didn't.
Well, you know, another guy I think had a real shot at the pole here, Marty Urin. Don't know why he's languishing back so far there in that 036, but in any event, he's done. He is not going to get another lap at this thing, so Marty Urin will not challenge for this pole. Chris Moses may be in very good shape out here.
So Houston was about a second off. That was a very shocking turn of events. Nobody was even close to that. Well, except for Monroy. He was 4 tenths off his Nick Johnston pace. And then Dang. Nose is still starting to hot.
Very difficult. Very difficult to get your best lap around here, Al. That second chicane in particular is one that's extremely difficult to hit just right and can gain you a lot of time. So, you know, you only got a certain amount of laps to be able to get that best one in, and don't think some of these guys were able to get it done. Monroy will be very close to getting one-timed lap in here.
See where Canavan ends up. He's got a good lap going. And he improves to 4, knocking John Houston and Marty Urban back to 5th and 6th. So Canavan improves. And Parsons is not... Don't think he's going to have time. It's going to be really close. I was surprised to see Kurt Chandler back in 13th.
Indeed, very surprising, Al. He's pretty close to that on race pace as well.
Greg Myers about to finish his hot lap. Sorry, we didn't. Greg got back in 25th, but that's okay for Greg. He'll be alright. I'll have to keep an eye on Parsons here, see if he can finish this lap.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Give me a second here. Let me see if my... Yeah, oh boy, this is going to be close.
He's behind 1.2 seconds here through the second split. Absolutely.
Got one corner to go here.
Time is up in qualifying. And he actually improves. I believe he moved up to 8th. Yeah, right behind his teammate. But we had another guy slip in there. Esteban jumps up to 5th. Wow, bumps Marty Houston back, and wow, so nice job by Esty qualifying in the top 5. Connie, is he going to get it in? He does, and he jumps up to 10th right at the last second. Wow.
That was close.
That was huge, and he did it. Bumps Tiago back in Klepnauer. Great job by Marco. Got to hand it to his race engineer there to get him out in time. So nice job by him. So, but anyway, Chris Moses on pole with a 2:02.5. Great lap by Chris. Nick Johnston slightly behind, about a tenth and change. 2:02.6, and Juan Monroy top 3. Canavan 4th and SD 5th.
Yeah, well, we got a few wild cards up there in the top 10. Great to see Juan Monroy lock down that 3rd spot. Esteban Palacio overtaking not only teammate Mike Monahan, as you said, but a host of others for that 5th spot. John Houston there in 7th, just ahead of teammate Aaron Parsons. That's nice to see. And Marco Conti, nice top 10 qualified effort there.
Yes, he snuck it in right under the radar right before we switched over to qualifying 2. So great job by Marco. His performance here in GT2 continues. Should expect Kurt to qualify back in 14th, but I don't think that's gonna slow him up any. I'm sure he'll do all right come the race. So we'll have to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he certainly will have a better pace in that car. Just a matter of being able to hit those laps. Now, you noted as well here that in that second chicane there, just after the timing split, liberty can be taken at that chicane for some extra time. So the competition committee will be reviewing when it comes to this track. These guys have to be a little mindful of just how aggressive they get over that curving there in the second chicane.
So we got a little bit of time here. I just want to thank again everybody who's tuned in here tonight. Got quite a few of yous on here watching. Mazuma from the Netherlands, he's on here. He said hello. Robert Ferracano's on here. Got a bunch of guys on here. So thanks everybody again for tuning in. Give you a little idea of this track. This is going to be our first running here. Ooh, as we just lost somebody, and I'm not sure who. I see all the main players up there, but not sure. I think it might have been Michael Richard. Yep.
Michael Richard did drop. He was at the bottom of the time of the scoring list, unfortunately serving no qualifying penalty tonight. So hopefully he's not going to have much time to get back in here. Hopefully he can sneak back in.
But as I was saying, this is our first running here in GT2, this layout. Max distance is 24 laps. Not entirely sure if it's going to go distance. It's a pretty fast track, so it might end on laps. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, Al, with your permission, I was wondering if we might not be able to get our fifth-place qualifier Esteban Palacio up here for a quick third. What do you think, Al?
Let's see if we can do that. Hold on. Esteban, do you got us?
What was that?
This is Alan Brad in the broadcast central here for NAGP TV. We just want to talk to you about your lap. Very nice fifth place start here tonight. Let us know how'd it go.
Well, teamwork. I hooked up with Mike and we tried to work together. Tried to get a quick lap and was able to pull a fast one at the end.
How was the
The chicane is the key.
How was the traffic out there during qualifying? Did it slow you up at all? Did you have problems with that?
No, everything was good. People were pretty respectful. There was a lot of room too. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, well, I saw you dip your teammate there for that best qualifying time between the two. That's always fun. But how
No, I just
do you like
he
your
lost it by himself.
well? How do you like your chances in the race? How's the Mercedes feel over the course of the race distance?
It's gonna be a tough race. New strategy helps. We'll see how we can do.
All right, Esteban. Well, good luck tonight. Hopefully you can stay connected on this one because looking pretty racy out there tonight. So good luck, and tell Mikey we said good luck.
Okay, thanks guys.
So, yeah, you know, Esteban's a guy that's been in the mix actually quite a bit this season, has had some bad luck, or would really be, I think, challenging for some of these championship points. But always a guy you expect to see around the top 5, and, well, there he is right there, Al.
Yeah, Esteban, I mean, eventually he's going to have his day. I mean, I think he's had a couple second place finishes. And, don't think he's yet won here in GT2. I could be mistaken. But he's got a pretty good performing car here tonight. It's going to be tough to match the pace of Moses and Nick Johnson in particular. But, you know, if he can keep it clean, you know, he could find himself in the podium for sure.
Yeah, and you make a good point. I think there's a real possibility Chris Moses and Nick Johnston, by virtue of their grid spot, if nothing else, can maybe pull some distance on this field. But again, if these guys start pushing to try to gain advantage of each other, there are some real pitfalls out there these guys can fall into and lose big chunks of time if they happen to throw their cars off track. So it'll be interesting to see how much they're going to be pushing versus how much they want to make sure they score points here in this one.
Yeah, we know Chris Moses' driving style. We're gonna have to see how that plays here tonight. It's not the type of track that would probably, like you said, kill tires. So we've seen him in the past where some of these twisty tracks that are a lot more abrasive than this one can really give Chris problems when it comes to the way he drives. But don't see that happening here tonight, but we'll see. Nick, as far as Nick goes, I think he's going to have to get in front of Moses within the first couple laps and try and get some distance from him if he can from there, but it's not going to be an easy thing to do.
No, and Nick Johnson is carrying some weight on his own. May hurt him a little bit down the straights, but these two guys, as well as the entire field, are going to have quite a few drafting battles down these long straights, so that's going to add a little extra into the mix here tonight in terms of fights for position.
So we'll have to see how it goes these first couple of laps. First corner in particular can be a bit tricky. The lead up to the first chicane can be even trickier. And the second chicane could be the trickiest of them all. So let's hope these guys brake early, realize they're on cold tires, cold brakes, and really display some patience out there.
Yeah, well, certainly that'll have been stressed vehemently, let's say, in the drivers' meeting. I think these guys will be okay here tonight. They understand the risk that those corners you mentioned.
Yeah, there's also that tire barrier in the second chicane, the old concrete tire barrier, similar to
Enna.
Yeah, and although not as difficult to navigate through as Enna, but still there nonetheless, and something to think about every time you approach that chicane.
Yeah, it's so tough because you really want to carry speed through there, but it's very narrow, and you have to get off it until you can make that corner and not run wide into the sand. It's a tough one. It's a nice challenge.
Well, here we go. Conditions kind of hot, 94-degree ambient, 108 track temp. It's sunny. Blue sky, so it doesn't look like any chance of rain for the moment. So on pole, Chris Moses, second pole of the season. Behind him, Nick Johnson in second, Juan Monroy third, Dave Canavan fourth, and Esteban Palacio starting fifth.
Marty Urin will start sixth. John Houston had a nice run there for seventh. Aaron Parsons is in eighth. Mike Monahan runs ninth, and Marco Conti will start 10th.
Jens Klepnauer 11th, Thiago Canola 12th, Christian Hamilton 13th, Kurt Chandler running 14th, and Eric Marecki 15th.
Sam Rolfe will start 16th. John Solberger starts 17th. Kevin Miller starts 18th. Nice run. Salem Montgomery Jr. starts 19th. Simon Goodwin takes 20th.
Bjorn Heyman 21st, John Watson 22nd, Jared Keane 23rd, Lou Mascarelli 24th, Greg Myers will be 25th.
Brian Story starts 26th. George Alba starts 27th. Gup Douglas is in 28th. Chuck Carter starts 29th. And Jack Ivy's in 30th.
31st, Drew Lidkia. Robert Kramer is 32nd. 33rd, Mike Greatrix. And David Pohl will be bringing up the rear. And there you have it. Got about 20-something seconds here to go on this one before we go to the green flag. Brad, what are you thinking?
Well, I got to peg Nick Johnston for his first NAGP win here tonight. You just never know about Thiago Cadola. I think from anywhere on the grid, you can't entirely count him out.
Well, I think I'm going to go with Juan. He's going to shock them all and take the win in the Gopper. urine creeps a little bit. I wonder if he may have gotten a blue flag as Esteban with a bit of a slow start. Moses with a dynamite start from Paul. Ooh, we got one of the... I saw one of the Porsches get hung out to dry there.
Yes, that was...
It might have been Canola.
That was Curtis Chandler and Thiago Canola, both off on the first corner, Al.
So Canavan takes third from Monroy. Yeah, one of the Ferraris are a little bit wide into that chicane. David Paul has already worked his way up to 24th. Up Douglas hard on the brakes. Kurt Chandler's followed back to 31st. And Robert Kramer bringing up the rear. Wow.
Yeah, again, it was a trip through the kitty litter. Both were Curtis Chandler and Thiago Canola.
On board with Simon Goodwin, he's jumped up to P16 and John Solberger in 15th. So a good start here for Solberger in the Camaro. In the points for the first time with that car.
Al, quick update. I do not see Thiago timing and scoring. I think Thiago Canola is out of this race.
He might have dropped. Not sure what happened to Thiago.
Stunning turn of events.
Devastating. That's going to be huge in the championship. That's, I hate to see that. Greg Myers remains in this race. George Albon was a little bit wide with that Jag, but remains on track.
Quick update there on timing and scoring. Aaron Parsons is showing 6th from his 8th starting spot, ahead now of Esteban Palacio and John Houston, teammate John Houston.
On board with Monroy, currently in P4.
Yeah, Juan Monroy, of course, giving up that spot to David Canavan. David Canavan to 3rd, Juan Monroy to 4th.
On board through the chicane, as you can see how tricky it is to navigate through there. Monroy just not able to close up in that draft. Parsons falls up to 6, as you mentioned. Esteban back in 7th. Houston running in 8th.
Yeah,
we have a look on Esty on the inside. He might have him. And he's got it. Huge slide. Gets off. Ooh. John with a bit of a slide stays in it. You gotta be careful here rejoining. And he rejoins right in front of Marco. And John is falling back to 10th.
Yeah, unfortunate.
He lost 2 spots there.
Unfortunate turn of events for John Houston, but looking at time and scoring here, Al, I see Eric Marecki has moved up into the 7th spot. 8th now as Esteban puts the pass on him.
Yeah, Marecki having a nice run here in that Ferrari 458. So far, his best run of the night, of the season, I should say. On board with Mikey Monahan running in P10. Right behind Klempnauer. Mikey having a look on the inside. GT2 gets into the back of Klepnauer. Let's see if Mike is going to lose any time here. He's going to lose a position to a couple guys, it looks like.
Well, you just lose so much momentum down these straights when guys are pounding out the pace there behind you. You just you lose so much time on offs like that. These are going to be the struggles for all these drivers here tonight. I see Nick Johnston has closed back up onto the tail of Chris Moses.
He certainly has, and he's going to look on the inside of Moses here, heading into the stadium section. I mean, he looks like he might have him. He's done it. See if Chris is able to answer. That BMW is incredibly quick down these straights.
Yeah, and it should be advantage BMW through the stadium section a little bit too, so he'll want to stay right on that bumper if he can and try to get a draft down that long first straight.
Yeah, Chris had a little slow coming out of that third chicane, which allowed Johnson to really close the gap. Andres Cole joins the broadcast. Welcome, Andres. Chris getting a nice toe off the back of that Panos.
This first chicane does offer some passing opportunities here, quite a bit different than the second chicane where it's pretty much single file.
Canavan just made a mistake there, had to take to the grass, but did not lose any position. Marty Urn has gotten past Monroy for fourth.
Yeah, and Marty Urin,
Go ahead, sorry.
Marty Urin does have more speed than he showed in qualifying, that's for sure, so he's going to want to be proving that here this first stint.
Board with Moses as he tries to close the gap here on Johnston. Just not
We watched
able
that
to
battle.
get close enough.
Yeah, well, you watched that battle. I'll just add a quick update. We talked about Eric Marecki running up there in 8th. He has fallen back to 11th, however. John Houston had some mistakes, but is clawed back up to 9th, while Jens Klempnauer now takes over the 8th spot.
Jens Klempnauer, as you mentioned, running in 8th, looking pretty decent in that Ford GT. Houston's picked up a spot after making a little mistake early on a couple laps ago. Currently in 9th, Mark O'Connor in the top 10. Christian Hamilton right behind Marecki, running in 12th.
Yeah, and the guy I was going to mention runs just behind there in 13th. Kevin Miller, another nice showing here tonight. And hopefully he'll be able to keep this string of laps together long enough to equal a whole race and come away with some nice points.
The two 458s battling it out, Pirelli and Michelin clad.
We have John Wathen into the pits here, as well as Drew Lidke for some reason. So maybe some damage out there on track John Wathen and Drew Lidke are having to deal with.
Christian looking on the inside of Marecki, and not going to happen. Yeah, Kevin Miller running in 13th. We got a Ford Chevy battle, Camaro versus Mustang. On board with Solberger. Solberger's got a little bit of damage to the rear of that car, but shouldn't affect him too much.
Now, I'm kind of looking at timing and scoring here and seeing Chris Moses' times versus Nick Johnston's times, and I know that Chris Moses is having some real trouble with engine wear. The revs around this place quite high, and I just suspect Chris Moses is really having to back off here running the 05s. You could certainly run much faster than that. I'm wondering if Chris Moses is having to back off to save that motor here a bit tonight.
Kevin Miller with a really nice line heading into that stadium section.
Yeah, one more note on the...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. One more note on the track here tonight, kind of a track-specific deal. If you do get bumped off some of these chicanes, it's real easy to take a cut. I was looking through timing and scoring. I believe David Canavan did have a cut track warning. So that's something else these guys are going to have to keep in mind here tonight.
Battle between Marecki and Hamilton rages on. Let's look further back here. Got Brian Story and Greg Myers. Got a whole pack of 4 of these guys. David Pohl has worked his way up into the points. Well, actually, he's just outside the points at 17th. Simon Goodwin right behind in 18th. This guy's looking to make some headway. He's right along with Goodwin. Paul has a little bit of a lurch heading into that chicane. Goodwin may have a run on him here on exit. He looked pretty clean. Ooh, that Audi's got some motor down these straights, though.
Yeah, that McLaren no slouch. I suspect that there's a little bit of extra downforce out there for Simon Goodwin.
Story doing what he can to hang on to that last points main position as Pohl takes a look on the inside. Oh, it looks like Pohl's got it. Nice pass by David Pohl. Story may fall victim to Goodwin here in a second. Oh, we lost somebody. Bit wide on the exit heading onto the main straight. Flags onto that spot. Got a feeling Goodwin may take them down this first main straight here. Crazy can get a tow. Monahan, who's fallen back to 19th, is in this battle as well. David Pohl having a look on Greg Myers. It looks like he's going to take 15th away from Greg. As Goodwin's also made the pass for 17th. Goodwin, nice pass on Story. That's clean. Mikey Monahan.
A little update, just
trying to reel Story. Go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
I was just going to give you a little update from a little further back. Curtis Chandler is making a move on Chuck Carter for the 22nd position.
Greg Myers was turned around. I'm not sure if he lost it on his own. Mike Monahan was caught up in that. Simon Montgomery's going to take that position away, and Bjorn Heyman as well. So Greg has fallen back to 21st. Tough break for Greg. We'll have to see a little bit of damage on the back of that Porsche, so not sure how that happened. Looked like somebody got into the back of him. It's a tough break for Greg. Sam Rolfe back at 22nd. Sam, I believe, he was running a little further up as well. Looks like he might have made a mistake also. He's back in 22nd. So that's gonna hurt. We already got Tiago out of this one, and Greg Myers now well out of the points. Go back. Ooh, his Kurt runs a little wide, and he loses it in the stadium section. Kurt may be a little bit fired up, a little frustrated.
Yeah, Curtis had just lost it in the second chicane, running wide into the kitty litter there, and probably pushing a little too hard, trying to pick up these spots that he gave up on the opening lap.
That can easily happen when you make a mistake early, and you know you got some pace, and you get frustrated and tend to make a lot of mistakes. But Kurt's gonna have to hang in there. Meanwhile, Chris Moses 2.6 seconds behind Nick Johnston. Johnston continues to lead this one.
Yeah, not pulling out the kind of margin I thought he might pull out is Nick Johnston, but certainly comfortable at the moment, assuming he can keep up those consistent laps, and he's doing a pretty good job of that in the mid to high 04s. He's looking good so far.
I wonder how the engine life on that Panos is going to hold up.
Well, I'm not sure. All I know is that Chris Moses was really having some struggles with it in practice. Meanwhile, it should be noted that Aaron Parsons has picked up time on Juan Monroy and is beginning to put some pressure on him for that 5th position. We can expect to see the gaps open up a little bit on this track. That's not anything we wouldn't expect to see. However, those gaps will come down rapidly. These guys do occasionally throw it off track. We've seen a few of those guys do that here.
The report from the pit lane is that Tiago had some contact from behind into turn 1, lost his rear spoiler, and then trying to make his way back to the pits, lost the car and totaled it. So that is the cause of Tiago's exit. I hate to see that. Tough luck there, Tiago.
Yep, real bummer for that driver and team.
Well, up front we got Juan Monroy hanging on to that 5th spot. Aaron Parsons not too far off, so running around in 6th position. Esty pretty much all by himself in the 7th spot. And Jens continues to motor along in 8th. Houston in 9th. Connie in 10th. So Houston, this is big for the team. Houston, if he can score some points, if not finish where he is now, it'll be huge with him and Parsons running pretty well here tonight, both in the top 10.
Indeed, and PMR's Gup Douglas, teammate to Chris Moses, is kind of mired back there in 22nd at the moment, so not too much a factor from that teammate in scoring points thus far.
Kevin Miller continues along here at 13th. He's stretched that gap a little bit to Solberger. But Kevin, again, showing some signs of performance here this season. So I don't see it. He's not far out of the top 10. Let's see if Kevin can crawl his way up there into the top 10 here tonight. It'd be a great finish for him.
Well, he's not a guy you see a lot around in the week of practice, but there's no question he has been putting some practice in, given by his strong showings here. It's almost always running in the points or close to him. And we talked about it. I've talked about it the last couple of weeks. I think this guy's about ready to break through. Just needs that couple tenths per lap and keeping it on track. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some good things from Kevin Miller here in the near future.
David Pohl running 15th, and Mikey Monahan in the last points paying position at 16th. Mikey's had his fair share of troubles here tonight, early on, but still plugging away. Lou Mascarelli now up to 17th. Lou is one position out of the points. Simon back in 18th. Sam running 19th. Greg Myers up to 20th now. Greg's got his work cut out for him if he wants to get into the points. But we're going to have to keep an eye on Greg, see where he decides to pit. And I'm sure him and Tiago shared pit strategies going into tonight, so we'll have to keep an eye on Greg, and this will probably give us an idea of what Tiago is going to do tonight.
Indeed. Well, I'm not sure what our time counter rather is at the moment, but we do have a scheduled 24 laps, and they're working lap 9 as we speak, so nearing halfway in any event.
About 23 minutes into this one. We should see roughly within the next 5 or 6 minutes, we should see some action as we head into the pits. The first pit
Yeah, I keep looking at... Yeah, that's right, Al. Yeah, I keep looking here at Chris Moses and checking that gap to our leader, Nick Johnston, and it's currently about 3.5 seconds. I know Chris Moses, I can plainly see that he's having to back off, save that motor, but he's doing a great job of really maintaining the best gap he can. Maybe try to save that motor for the end a little bit and make the best push he can. But Chris Moses doing a nice job there in second, really, I think, managing this this car.
Cobb Douglas with a huge off. A little lawn mowing, and now he's testing the other side of the track, and he's back on. Kurt Chandler gets by for 24, so yeah, as you mentioned, Gup is languishing back there in 25th spot.
Yeah, and also mentioned, though, those gaps can seem pretty large at any given point. You throw it off track, and they're going to come down suddenly, and there's going to be a position change. And we're going to be seeing more of that as the night progresses.
George Alba, meanwhile, running along at 26th. Jack Ivey back at 27th. Missing his rear clip, but that shouldn't affect him too much. And Robert Kramer bringing up the rear at 28th. I'm sorry, he's not bringing up the rear.
Yeah,
Montgomery at 29th. Drew Lidke at 30th. And Wathen has parked it. Wathen's tough season continues here at GT2.
Yeah, unfortunate accident there for John Wathen, and Salem Montgomery and Drew Lidke as well, not running as well as they'd like tonight as well. I was taking a look at timing and scoring. Always kind of keep my eye on it. Aaron Parsons had managed to pull right up along to Juan Monroy, but has given up some ground since. Juan Monroy into the pits,
Into the pits, first to act.
So Juan was keeping a nice pace versus Aaron Parsons there in that 5th spot, but decided it was time for a tire change, a little bit of fuel for that Gumpert.
Interesting timing there for Juan. Well, you did something similar in that car at Bathurst. You pitted a lot earlier than everybody else. So, what was your thought when you decided to do that? Is it a matter of him just trying to get some open track position and maybe lay down?
Well, if I recall, if I recall, the strategy was based on what the guys around me were doing at the time, and it seemed to me that it would work out a little bit better being able to get on the fresh rubber a little earlier, and maybe try to gain some time that way, running laps compared to guys on worn rubber. And that could be the case here, or he could simply have been running out of tire, or it's always not a bad idea to be a little bit off sequence in case somebody might happen to be in your box when you come in. So, a variety of reasons.
Kevin Miller in and out of the pits. So Kevin Miller also decided to pit early. Brian Story into the pits, so it looks like the Mustang boys are sharing the same pit strategy.
Indeed, and been watching timing and scoring again, and I've got to tell you, I'm a little surprised Marty Uren has not been able to make up too much ground on 3rd place David Canavan here. I did expect Marty Uren to have a little bit better pace here tonight, but Marty Uren still in 4th place, not able to take any time out of David Canavan.
Canavan goes by the lapped Aston of Mike Greatrick. I'm sorry, Robert Kramer. So Robert Kramer filling in for Ian Jolicoeur here tonight in that Aston.
Esteban Palacio into the pits.
Esteban is
from the
in.
8th. Yeah, 8th position there, I believe, Al.
And he's away.
So, with Tiago out of this event, unfortunately, very sorry to see that. I don't think we'll see too many shenanigans out there from these guys trying a double stint of tires or something like that. Though Esteban did have a pretty quick stop.
He did have a quick stop, and he rejoins ahead of Monroy. So he picked up some time and jumped out ahead of Monroy. So really nice stop by Esty.
Yeah, that Dunlop clad Mercedes did get very good tire wear, so these guys might be doing some shenanigans, but not 100% on that.
Keep an eye on Nick Johnston here, see when he decides to pull it into the pit lane. We're working 27 minutes here into this one. Looks like Nick is
I gotta think Nick Johnston is starting to get a little befuddled on some of these pit strategies. He's seen Tiago run away with these wins 3 times when he was in line for one of them himself by using pit strategy. So I'm not sure if Nick is he's quite sure what to do.
Meanwhile, John Houston and Jens Klepnow are now doing battle here, really close.
Yeah, John Houston has been picking up time on Jens Klepnow here, so he's finding his pace again.
This is the battle for the 7th spot. I suspect Houston may have a run on Jens here, but that Ford's no slouch down these straights, and it looks like he's gapping that Viper quite a little bit here.
Yeah, and no doubt got through that first corner, very important first corner, a little bit better than John Houston as well. But it should be noted as we ride along here with John Houston a little bit that he was ahead of teammate Aaron Parsons there.
Ooh, and Jens has a little bit of mistake that's going to allow John to get by. Succumb to the pressure.
Yeah, I'll just finish my thought here. Now a gap of some 18 seconds back to teammate Aaron Parsons when he had started right next to him on the grid. We saw John Houston run off just once or twice, and that's all it's going to take for these big gaps to open up. So for any of you guys out there watching or looking to join in some league action, keeping it on track is a big priority around here in this group. You got to do it if you want to finish high up there in points. Gregory Myers into the pits, out.
Wow. So Greg pitting early. Have to see if Greg double stints. I don't know if you got your eye on him, but
I didn't.
Mascarelli in as well, and Greg is out, so looks like it might have been a splash and go for Greg.
Yeah, currently working lap 14, again of a scheduled 24, so no more than 10 more laps to run.
Chris Moses into the pit, Sam Rolfe exiting as we speak. Ooh, Christian Hamilton misses the pit entrance, but gets back in there. Moses exits. How many of these guys you think are double stinted tonight? Because it seems like they're getting in and out pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Al, but with a fuel consumption around 3.1 to 3.4, I got to think these short pit stops are a result of double stinting tires. The temperature is up, though, pretty high at 115 degrees Fahrenheit. The track is very easy on tires, and in addition to that, they don't tend to heat up too much either. So, yeah, they could be making these medium slicks work the whole race.
Again, bit of a moment there in the second chicane, and that's allowed Marty Uren to close the gap up a little bit on Canterman. I think Johnson gets by the lap car. I believe that might have been either Bjorn or Marecki, not sure which. So with Nick seeing Moses and a lot of people now hitting the pit lane, let's see if Nick decides to pull it into the pits. Stay out. Canavan stays out as well. Looks like Parsons is staying out. Ooh, and Houston, Jens has a bit of a moment. Comes out right ahead of Chris Moses. Moses is able to get around. That was quite a little bit of a moment there for Chris. That was close.
Yeah, so judging by the in and out times, Chris Moses now 40 seconds behind Nick Johnston, who we know have not pitted. I have to say that for sure no tires have been taken on at least Chris Moses' stop and quite a few of these other guys as well. I think it's a majority of double stints for this field.
Wonder if Nick got the memo.
Yeah, well, we'll see, and and yeah, we'll see. I tell you, looking at time and scoring here, Marty Uren has closed up a pretty considerable gap to David Canavan. They have yet to stop either of these guys, and but they're going to be joined in battle here very quickly before their stops.
Yeah, so we've mentioned in previous races, this is really Nick's first full season here at NAGP, and he's been cut off quite a few races here in the pit, so it's something he's working on.
Well, you just got to take a look at what's going on around you, and if you look at some of the gaps back to, so let's say, Chris Moses, who is running in second place, and see what that time gap is back to him now, only 40 seconds, and it's going to give him a clue, but it does take a little while to catch on to some of this stuff, and let's hope Nick has done that tonight.
Looks like Nick is not coming in. He's going to stay out. Taking a look at his lap time. His last lap was at 0.54. Alrighty, so these top three still have yet to blink. Parsons into the pit lane.
Yeah, very interesting pit rotation we're having here.
Fuel only for Parsons. So that pretty much answers our question. For those of you out there watching who are new to GTR2, you'll see the car go up on jack stands when they go to change tires. So it looks like these guys are definitely double stinting.
Well, given the nature that so many guys can double stint, I think that's going to be a plan for Nick Johnston in any event. And we have seen him come in pretty much on time or even a little early, Nick Johnston, most of his time here this season. I think he probably would if he was planning on taking tires. So no reason not to stay out there a little longer if you know you aren't going to change those shoes anyway.
Yeah, so Nick is staying out. Now it comes down to a matter of lap times compared to the guys who've already come in. Canavan appears to be staying out. His teammate pitted a bunch of laps ago, so looks like they're on different strategies. Marty is staying out as well. John Houston,
well, and of course
running in P4. We'll see what he decides to do. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. And of course, we are looking mainly at the Chris Moses, Nick Johnston battle. Chris Moses pitting some 6 seconds or so back of Nick Johnston, and he has not gained any of those 40 seconds back that he came out of the pits. So far, Nick Johnston, Chris Moses holding station. Nick comes in, gets that double stint. He should be able to get out in front of Chris Moses, and they'll rejoin their battle. Jens Klimpnauer into the pit.
Jens decides to pit. Chris now approaching one of the lap cars. I believe that's Robert Kramer. And not far off of Houston, who is currently running around in 4th.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Jens Klimpnauer was running, who he was running around with, but he had a couple really bad in laps, and he may give up a position to those guys he was running around with.
Yeah, he did definitely make a couple mistakes, and I think you're right. Well, David Paul running around in 8th. I don't believe he has pitted yet. So David, who started from dead last, is currently in 8th spot. You got to give him a lot of credit on a job well done here tonight. So far, great drive for Dave. Looks like he's pretty much stayed out of trouble for the most part. From what we've seen, it's been a pretty clean race for him tonight.
Indeed he has, and he hasn't come in yet, but he's looking, when he does, to come out around 13th, 14th, maybe 12th spot. So yeah, indeed, nice run up for David Poole from his starting position. You know, one guy that I think did take tires and lose out on his pit stop was Juan Monroy. But Juan Monroy well back of some of those guys he was running around, and I think he's going to lose some positions tonight as a result.
Yeah, that explains why Esty was in and out so quick and got out so far ahead of him. So Juan looks like he got caught off guard here tonight.
Nick Johnson, David Canavan into the pits.
So we got our eyes on Nick. Marty, you're in, also in.
Marty.
Nick might be having a hard time starting that car up. And he's away. Marty, gas only. John Houston into the pits.
Moses has assumed the race lead, Al.
So Moses
David Canavan beats out Nick Johnston as well.
So I tell you what, Nick, it looked like his car was lurching a little bit. He looks like he might have had a hard time getting that car to turn over. So here you have it. Nick's pit struggles continue. What a shame.
Yeah, and he finds himself in a really familiar position, Al, likely having pace on these guys in front, but needing to get by him and running out of laps to do it suddenly.
Yeah, it's again a replay of last week where Nick came out behind Canavan, and really. Go ahead.
I just don't know that there's been a race this guy's been in this season where this hasn't happened, Al.
I don't think there's any question he's going to catch up to Canavan. He is. I mean, Canavan's quick, but Nick is just a wee bit quicker here tonight. But it's just a matter of Nick being able to get around Canavan. Nick's got one of the lap Astons on his inside. Looks like it's not going to give him a problem.
Yeah, another guy, it should be noted, running up well, I think took tires, was Kevin Miller. John Houston had an accident. He's out of this race, Al.
Oh, I just saw a There's a tire. Looks like he hit it. Oh, yep, there's his fender. He hit that tire barrel we talked about, and the tire's still rolling down the wall, the retaining wall there. Wow. There it is.
Horrible
Right
break
side.
for John Houston.
Might be tough to see in the broadcast, but it's still rolling around. Oh, it looks like Montgomery's out. Montgomery, who somehow managed to not destroy that car. He took an evasive action right at the last second to avoid damage. Wow. So, the team battle takes another hit here tonight with the co-drivers here.
Yeah, John Houston having such a great run for that TBROK Dam Bam team. That second chicane did catch him out. Nick Johnson did get by David Canavan just now for second place and is looking to haul back Chris Moses.
Yep, we just picked up that fight as they approach the Lambo of Mascarelli. Canavan really close. That tire's still sitting there. Canavan really close to the back of Johnston going through that chicane. Looks like he might have tapped him a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting. Our final few laps here. These guys on worn tires, the guys at the front, and all the way through this field, really looking to push to get by their rivals. Going to be interesting.
Johnston and Canavan get by without issue.
Quick update, David Poole did come out of the pits and slot into 11th place, looking to get by John Solberger, a couple seconds up the road for 10th.
So we're going to have to keep an eye on the gap between Johnston and Moses. It's currently 9.5 seconds. So now that Johnston is clear of Canavan, let's see if he's able to reel in Bruce Moses. Meanwhile, Parsons now up to 4th. Looks like he jumped Marty in the Parsons had a huge moment on the exit of turn 1. Looks like he might have jumped Marty in the pit lane. And Esteban now running in 7th. Jens up to 7th. I'm sorry, Esteban in 6th. Marty Jens, excuse me, is up to 7th. And Hamilton now running in 8th spot. That is huge for the Elite Motorsport team.
Indeed it is, and a guy that's just popped up here is John Solberger with some of those problems from those guys in front. John Solberger has just made a stop and currently runs in the 9th position.
Yep. 10th position. He's got David Poole right behind him. And Poole with a great pit stop and he's currently running in 11th. So David, his teammate Saul, they're in the fight for the team championship, and Saul is out due to illness. So.
Chuck Carter now coming in for his first scheduled pit stop, first and only, we would assume. Pitting from the 15th position.
Let's take a look at the teammates here. We have of the guys in the top 5. Greg Myers is up to 15th, so Greg will get some points for if things stay the way they are. He'll get some points for the Journal and Taxi Service, but all the other teammates are either out or out of the points. Gup Douglas back at 21st. Sam Rolfe out with an accident. Wathen out with an accident. Houston out with an accident.
Yeah, if Gup can manage to stay up there, that's going to be a huge lift actually for PMR.
Yep, Gup's got some work cut out for him though if he wants to get up into the points.
Yeah, well, with teammate Chris Moses up there leading this race, they would take over this team championship if things finish the way they are now.
Oh, and the two, Bjorn and Marecki, the two teammates in the 458s.
That's a no-no.
With a huge accident. Bjorn back on track. Marecki's missing. Oh, and he's done. He is out. Wow. Huge wreck for Marecki. He had missed his front clip and that game over. Wow.
Boy, running so well early, too.
Really well. Well, that's going to help Gup Douglas. Man, that's something you definitely don't want to see. Two teammates getting into it with each other. That was ugly. And that all happened right in front of Chris Moses, who was leading the race, so Chris was lucky to survive that.
Now, I'm seeing Gup Douglas all of a sudden shown back in 21st, Al.
Chris gets by the lap cars. I believe Robert Creamer is missing his rear spoiler. Yeah, he's got some problems. As Creamer tries to get back into the pit lane. Looks like he's keeping it well wide, not to get in anybody's way, so good job by Robert to keep it off the racing line.
Well, I think Nick Johnson is going to come up just short again here tonight, Al. The veteran Chris Moses somehow closing down that 4 or 5 second gap he had coming into the pits, and I think Chris is going to take this one tonight.
Well, this battle back here between Kurt, Chuck, and Bjorn. Bjorn just went off. Bjorn with another incident here. Gup Douglas now up to 20th. Yeah, Gup had a pit stop, so that's why he fell back a little bit. But Chuck Carter and Kurt Chandler going at it.
Ah, I see. I didn't see that he had made his pit stop.
And Dave Canavan right behind these two were battling it out.
At the front, Chris turned in a 2 minute 7 second lap this last time. I'm wondering if that motor's really starting to squawk at him. Gup Douglas just retired with an engine. Speaking of BMW and engines, Al.
Oh, he is out. Wow.
I'm wondering if Chris Moses is thinking he might not be able to make it to the end of this race.
Well, that's if anybody's gentle on their engine, it's Gup Douglas, and man, if he can blow it up, we're gonna have to keep an eye on Chris. And Chris is, yeah, you could tell he's really not on the throttle the way he was previously.
No, that gap coming down quickly.
Gap is now 5. It was 9. Currently working lap. Ooh, this is the last lap, folks.
Yeah, I was going to say Marty Uren is still taking out time on Aaron Parsons. Now about getting set up to get well and truly in the draft, but maybe out of time here. That a fight for the 4th position.
Yeah, we just picked that up. You all are on board with Chris Moses, who is his teammate just retired with an engine failure.
Yeah, last lap through a little bit better for Chris Moses, back into the low 06 range.
Gap now just under 5 seconds.
Marty Uren has an off at the second sector, Al.
Oh, he has a big off. Trying to get by Aaron Parsons, but still retains that 5th spot.
Yeah, Esteban Palacio not close enough to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you can tell Chris is really nursing this car through here to the finish. Approaches the final corner. Chris Moses, your winner at Hockenheim. Incredible.
Wow.
Nick Johnson just a few seconds behind in 2nd. Oh, and he blew the engine right at the final, right at the line. Canavan will take 3rd. Parsons 4th. Marty Urin should finish in the 5th spot. Man, Johnson's got to be frustrated with that pit stop. Palacio takes 6th. Great run by Esteban. Pretty much on his own after the first few laps, but still a nice run, nice nonetheless, and good to see him finally finish, not have those technical issues. Jens Klepnauer going to take 7th. Great job by Jens. Great finish. Hey, Hamilton's going to take 8th. Monroy 9th. And Poole is going to take 10th. He got by Solberger for that top 10. Solberger will finish 11th. Marco coming
Nice run
12th.
for John.
Monahan will finish 13th. Kevin Miller was going to finish 14th. Greg Meyer is going to take 15th into the points, so good job for Greg. And that's going to be it for the top guys on the lead lap.
Yeah, well, it was a good night of racing, Al. We saw a lot of interesting action there late in this race with a bunch of guys going out, unfortunately. A few engines blowing up out there. But a good race overall. We had a good battle up front. Nick Johnson coming up just a little short, and Chris Moses is going to notch another GT2 win. He's going to be a happy boy.
Absolutely. Chris, you got us.
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, congratulations on your second win of the season. Looks like you took advantage of Nick Johnston here, who struggled to get in the pit lane. What happened? How'd it go?
I had a strategy from the start there, and I couldn't run the car full tilt like I did in qualifying. So I knew I had just enough engine, and allowed me to save a lot of fuel as well, and tires. I really saved a lot more tires than I thought. I had plenty of rubber left, even double stinting the tires. So double stinted. Probably should have stayed out a little longer, ended up getting caught up in some traffic for position. So, but I actually had to pull out of the draft with Nick because it was burning up the engine too fast. So I wanted to lay back, but he got a little bit away from me towards the end of the stint. But nailed the pit stop, and that's all she wrote. Worked out good.
Well, you did manage to get that pole position. Looking at some of the times in the week of practice here, it looked like some guys probably could have run a little bit faster. Did you think that you got your best lap in the qualifying session? Were you a little bit worried that somebody might be able to get better than you were there?
Yeah, I knew I could do that time. I thought guys would go a little quicker. Actually, I didn't really push that hard that lap, but I picked up some draft, so it helped a little bit. And I was actually shocked when I got the pole. I figured I was going to be a little short, so I was very happy to to nail that. And that was my last chance because I didn't time it real well. I didn't have enough time to do another time lap, so I nailed on the last one, so it felt good.
Well, We saw your teammate Gup Douglas retire with an engine failure with a lap or two left in the race. Were you concerned about about your engine life?
Yeah, I really had a short shift. Actually, setting on the car, I never run auto clutch. I ran auto clutch tonight, and just to help me short shift without being in the engine, because I needed a lot of reps for the first straight. So I would lose. For those of you who don't know all the ins and outs of GTRQ, I'd lose at least 1% of engine health, 1 to 2 on the main straight each lap. So I only had 33 points to use up in 24 laps. So I had to be very cautious how I went about it, and so it was all about once I got out in front of Nick on the last pit stop, I was actually cutting it close on fuel because I pushed hard for a few laps. So I had to back off on fuel, engine, and tires. I had to save it all, but it worked out. It was like a conservation race, but no damage, which was perfect. I wanted to let Nick buy clean. I wanted to hold him up maybe a couple more laps, but I just want to make sure he got by clean, and I didn't ding the car up.
Well, congratulations on a great run tonight, Chris, and well earned. And unfortunately, with the retirement of Tiago, you were able to pick up quite a few points on both Aaron and Tiago, who had to exit early in this race. So.
Yeah, I need this big time. It's gonna be a tough struggle the next race in Slovakia. So it's a roll handling, bumpy, downforce track, and it's not gonna suit the car very well. But I needed this win bad after I had a bad race at Zhuhai, so it made up for it. Now I'm back in the hunt.
Well, congratulations there tonight, Chris. Good job.
Yep, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck next week.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Oops, I cut him off. But anyway, there you have it. Chris Moses, the winner here tonight at Hockenheim. And as he mentioned, next week we will be at Slovakia. So another new track for us here in GT2. It's going to be an interesting race, to say the least. So, Brad, thanks again for helping out here on the broadcast, and good job. Thanks a lot, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thanks, Al. Good night.